What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Just United, who myself, Gov.
M Flows, you already know.
And we're here again with H Flows. Once again, we're back and we're here talking about the Crystal Palace review. Another boring 0-0 game. And Gov, what's happening?
I don't know about boring.
It was boring because we didn't score. It was just boring. All these missed chances and it's getting repetitive now for me.
I'd say it was more annoying than boring.
I mean,
I'm bored. I'm bored with drawing. I'm bored with not winning. That's how boring it is for me as a Man United fan.
I mean, I loved it. I loved it so much that I didn't even bother watching the highlights or the game, to be honest.
I should have joined you. I should have joined you with that. I should have joined you with that as well. It's
I
crazy.
swear, I just checked on live score, saw it as 0-0. Lovely jubbly. Went about my day.
No, it was tough to watch, to be fair. We had enough chances with Garnacho. He was put through a few times. Xerxes was with one of them, and he should have finished. And I thought when he was running in, he's gonna go for goal here and he's gonna put it away like he usually does. No, did not happen. Dean Henderson decided today's the day where he's gonna show Man United that he's a real goalkeeper, and it just didn't happen for us.
He got his positioning right, which is the big thing as well. And Garnacho could have gone straight ahead, but he went across goal, and Dean Henderson put a really big hand out, which made it easier for Crystal Palace to stay in the game. But for me, is the fact that we had so many chances, and then we let them come back in the game in the second half. And then Eberechi Eze missed a huge chance to just slot it home to make it a 1-0 smash and grab for Crystal Palace as well. That's why I'm a bit concerned about how we're moving forward as a team, because we played well in offence, but in defence, it was like we can't not have these games anymore for me.
Would you say we're playing well in defence though then?
We're playing well in offence, but in defence, it's just really poor. Because
I think it's improved. It's definitely improved. We had Crystal Palace in the first half, I believe they didn't have any shots until like the 40th minute and on target at all.
It's just frustrating for me because you've got Eriksen and Mainu, who are both offensive type of midfielders, and you've got Fernandes in front of him. You've got Diogo Dalot, who's going into midfield as well. So we're starting with a back three when we've got the ball. And we've got no one besides Garnacho running ahead of the defenders as well. So everyone's all coming toward the ball. So when we've got players who can pass the ball over, we don't have anyone running. So I kind of get why Marcus Rashford must have been frustrated not to play, and I was frustrated that he wasn't playing. When you got one runner,
I was
the whole
shocked
team,
at that surprise.
that's why I found it quite boring. It was just keeping the ball and stuff.
So you just said that, of course, Mainu's an attack-minded player. Do you honestly think he is? I don't think he's attack-minded. I think he's more of like your traditional like box-to-box midfielder, really.
Box to box, you can still attack from it as well. When you've got Mainu with what he was doing, he was the one sitting back a bit more to allow Eriksen to be free. But as we've seen before, Mainu works well when he's got a holding midfielder next to him, like a Casemiro, or if he's got like a Declan Rice for England as well.
With him,
yeah,
give him a chance to go.
Sofian Amrabat at the end of last season was fantastic when that was happening. We saw that in the FA Cup final when they basically beat Rodri and co for Manchester City in that midfield battle when Amrabat was the one.
Do you know what annoyed me most about the game? When they were playing, it was like they'd have moments in the game where they'll play 1-2 touch football and they'll get through and they'll get a chance. To me, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you not doing that again? Like straight after, literally they'll do that once and then 10 minutes will go by where they're just passing the ball around the pitch and they're going back. I get it, you got to keep possession, but when you're doing that 1-2 touch football, they can't get near you then. They can't put a tackle in because the ball's like ping pong, like it's gonna go everywhere.
Yeah, of course, you're breaking the lines a lot more quickly. I do think that, of course, and this is obviously going back to your last few games as well. I do feel like it's a bit too rushed, especially in the first few games. Again, I can't really speak too much on the Palace game because I didn't watch it. But I do think that, look, you guys are talking about an improvement against Crystal Palace.
Oh, I'm not.
Like,
after 4-0 last season, it is definitely an improvement, I'd say.
I mean, come on. Do you think that's
it
the
is?
standard?
Do you think no, we had the chances in the game. We had the chances in the game.
Is that where you're not? Is that like the fall from grace? The fall from grace.
No, I'm saying in terms of
happy with a fucking.
No, of course I'm not happy. I'm annoyed because as soon as we had the chance to take over the game and we were putting them under pressure, we were literally sitting in their half for a good 30 minutes, and it's like, what are you guys going to do now? And then all of a sudden we started going back around the back of the pitch, just kept passing the ball there, and it's like nobody wanted to make a move. And for me, who annoyed me the most, Bruno Fernandes.
Why?
He annoyed me so much in that game. I get it, he's going to lead the press, but at the same time, you've got Striker on the pitch, you've got Garnacho on the pitch, you've got Ahmad on the pitch. Let them do the pressing. Let one of them lead the press, and you get your ass in midfield and you make them passes, the proper passes, because he's running himself ragged to get about the pitch. And then when the ball was finally played to him, he's either too tired to pass the ball about, or he couldn't do anything. He annoyed me so much. And I get it, like people are gonna say he gave away the ball 34 times or whatever. That isn't a problem for me because
He's a risk taker.
he's trying to make something happen. But if he just stayed in midfield with Ericsson, because then you can play two passes that are clean and neat. You can play to get through the defense, and that's what I mean. In those moments, they started doing that, and then it was just like, okay, we're gonna go back to Bruno running off, going up top to lead the press. When they got Xerxes, the guy's 6 foot something, he can do that pressing. He can take two players if he needed to. Bruno was literally losing the ball because he was just tired. He was running about and he's just running all over the place.
Do you think, though, that's because Bruno himself has made that decision on the pitch, or do you think that's tactics from Eric Ten Hag where he said, no, you know what, Xerxes, I want you to stay up top and stay in the box.
Bruno's the captain. He can easily say, no, I can see how this game's going. I'm going to sit in midfield now and control it. Our best moments were when he's passed it to Ericsson and Ericsson's laid off a ball, or then Ericsson's passed it to him and then he's laid off a ball, but then they stopped doing it. It was like, you were on top. The game's at 0-0. At this point last season, you were 4-0 down. Bruno, what are you doing? And it was annoying, very annoying.
What annoys me about what you just said there as well is like last season we lost to Crystal Palace 4-0, and who didn't we have in the team? There was no Bruno Fernandes. So when you don't have someone initiating the press, and we don't have someone who's actually going to be working to make sure that their defense is under pressure, you've got to stop them somehow, and we stop them somehow because it's one of the few teams in the league where they play with a back three. So they play with a back three, and when you've got that spare man in midfield like Wharton or Kamada that came in the first half as well, that's where you're kind of like, oh yeah, Mainu and Ericsson can deal with him, but Bruno's that spare man in midfield who can actually press properly and he can actually work well. So for me, I get why people are annoyed at Bruno, mostly because of that missed chance with the outside the foot, but that was a hard chance to take anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the fact that he's still doing his job. He will always be that guy that's going to be initiating the press. When Mason Mount was in the team earlier this season, he was doing fantastic at doing that against Fulham and against Brighton as well. But
I just feel as being a midfielder, yes, you've got to lead the press or whatever, if you can say that. But he's captain. He is a midfielder, attacking midfielder, needs to make sure that he's feeding these front three players.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If he's the captain and he's not working, and for example, they then get through, and then,
but if he's sitting in midfield, they're not going to. Colby Mainu and Ericsson, there was moments in that game where they'd pass the ball to each other and then end up going back to defense because Bruno's all the way over there. They can't
that stops an attack and that wins the ball back, which makes it easier for us to maintain possession.
When Crystal Palace are sitting in like this and in the two banks of four, it's very difficult.
It was a 5-3.
No, but I mean in defense.
In defense, it was a 5-3-2 because their wing backs came back into back five. Because a big thing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But when they were in the two banks in defense, it was like Bruno's over there. He's the one that they're obviously trying to get the ball to. So all they were doing is just crowding him out the game, because they knew the ball was going to Bruno. So then come into the space and make yourself available.
But then at the same time, don't you think that it's also on? Look, obviously, your first half must have gone a certain way, and your second half obviously more or less sounds the same. Don't you think that's something that the manager should be changing the tactics?
He did, and one thing with that as well, I'll say he bought Rashford on, did not see anything from him at all. In that game.
It was more the fact that Xerxes came off for me. That's what I found annoying.
Yeah.
Because he was the one who's controlling our attacks, which made it easier for us as well. But it was a difficult game for Man United, but we really should have finished our chance as well. What do you guys think? Agree or disagree? Comment below. We'll see you next time.
See you later, guys.